That's when the doctor called me and told me that they found that I have an invasive ductal carcinoma. I'm like, what is that? She's like, we found cancer. And I'm like, what kind of cancer is that? She's like, well, all you need to know is that you have breast cancer and you're going to need to do some treatment. So I'm sending you to the oncologist and they're going to be calling you. And I'm like, no, this is a mistake. She's like, no, this is not a mistake. And I'm like, well, I can't believe it. Telling myself, happy birthday, 40. And then everything, I felt like the world was just crashing on me. I think the only person that knew was my partner, which he was like taking days off. Like, you wouldn't believe. Ooh, I'm getting emotional.
That's okay.
Forgot about this time.
Welcome to the Epicist. This is an episode with Melanie Albert. I know it's French, but I'm not saying it French-like because I would butcher it. And this month, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's a God incidence that this month happens to be Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we're talking about is breast cancer. It's the topic of the conversation. And so, we'll have to get this one up before the end of the month for sure. So, Melanie, why don't you just tell us a bit about you're born in Ottawa, you're born and raised in Ottawa?
Yes.
You are?
I am. Well, in a little town in Ottawa, like the east of Ottawa. I'm from Vars, little town.
Vars, yeah, that's a nice place. Yeah. Not many people are born and raised in Ottawa, by the way. I don't know if you know that. A lot of people come to Ottawa and they leave Ottawa, but...
that's right.
I'm actually born and raised in Ottawa as well, so we're one of the few special people in the city.
Yeah.
So what we're going to talk about today, Melanie, is your experience with breast cancer. And what I'd like to do is go back to before you knew you had breast cancer and what was happening before that. Like, what?
Yeah. So I was always, I started when I was 30. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you my age now. I'm 43.
Okay. Big reveal. That's a good one.
So I'm 43.
Yeah.
And I started about when I was 30. So 13 years ago, I was just being very active. I was going to the gym. And before that, I was in martial arts.
Okay. What kind of martial arts?
Jiu-jitsu. So my dad he owned the jiu-jitsu school.
Oh, nice. Which one?
The one, it was one in Vars.
Okay. Oh, in Vars.
So I was in the little town of Vars, and he owned a school there.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was a fifth degree black belt.
Oh,
so
wow.
he got me into...
Was it BJJ or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? Or you said Jiu-Jitsu?
I think so.
Yeah? You did a lot of grappling? And.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So that's how I started. I guess my dad was into a lot of sports. I played baseball. I was, I got into jiu-jitsu. I got a few awards for it.
Nice. Sorry, you have siblings as well, or you're?
Yeah, my brother, and he was.
You have a brother, and he's older or younger?
Yep, older. He's, a year and a half older than me. Yeah.
Was he into the athletics as well?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a whole family thing going on.
I think so.
Nice.
Yeah, we were very active. I think it comes from my dad. He was into all kinds of sports.
Right. Okay.
So I started off with that, and then when I turned 30, I met Ms. Vanda.
Oh yeah. She's in the room, just in case anybody's wondering. Yep.
Yeah. So that's when I got a little bit more into the gym and got into more like, I wouldn't say heavy training, but just I got into the whole wanting to get very fit and healthy. And then I got into fitness competitions.
So you did the because I know Vanda, who's in the room, also did fitness competitions. So you did fitness. Did you do any bikini competitions as well?
It was bikini.
I
started with bikini. But back then, I think they called it fitness.
Fitness model, I think, right?
Modeling,
okay.
Exactly.
So you did fitness modeling. Did you do the fitness competitions as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I started, I think my first one was when I turned about 30, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
I started, and then I kept going.
Okay,
I
and
kept
how did you do?
going very well, actually.
Were you still doing martial arts at the time?
No, I stopped. I guess when I started high school, I got into different different important things in my life that I kind of stopped the jiu-jitsu.
So you were doing a lot of weight training then for the fitness competitions.
Yeah.
And you would do the standard prep prior to a competition.
Yeah.
You know, depleting yourself and all those things that are required.
I wouldn't say too much depleting. I would just say I was just preparing my meals. A lot of protein, like I was eating fish and chicken, and then all the vegetables that I like.
Okay.
You know, and I was cutting down a little bit on the sugar, a lot of the sugar. So I wasn't eating any processed foods, or just trying to I wanted to look like, I wanted to clean eating,
Okay.
you know? So I was trying to like look back at how the cavemans used to eat, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Back in
sure.
the days, it was just like, you got your meat, you got your vegetables, and a lot of water, and
And that worked out for you?
it did, but it was hard, like
Yeah.
in the sense that I remember we were craving sugar, so we're like, oh, can we have a cheat meal now and just go have like a chocolate cake or something?
Nice.
So a lot of the time I was with Vanda
Okay.
when we started. Well, I think she was already into that. She's just bringing me into that that world.
And was
she
that a good
opened up
experience for
me.
you? Was that a good experience for
It
you?
was.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like it kept me focused. And when I did my first competition. The first one I didn't win, but it was just to get that feel on the stage. I was very nervous.
Okay.
And then I was like, yeah, I've got to work on those stage presence. That was terrible.
Okay.
But then with the second one, I got less nervous. I got the stage presence a lot better. And then I feel like I really killed it because, yeah, I ended up with few trophies, and I did 40 competitions.
40? 40?
40, yeah.
Holy moly, that's a lot
But
of
I was
competition.
doing back to back, so it was easy. I would just win one and then register. The other one was already registered, so it was easy. I was
So
just
you were in a
like,
constant state of readiness.
yeah.
Oh, wow. Was that hard on the body at all? Or I know that you were eating clean and all that, but
I don't know if it was hard on the body. I think I was just feeling it's a lifestyle that you're used to it.
so you wouldn't go through the typical cycle, because a lot of people who compete will go through this 1 or 2 month intense
Yeah.
depleting, preparing for the competition.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were staying at a fairly steady state.
I think I was just like around Christmas time. That's when I was just like, all right, that's it. I'm eating what I want.
Nice.
That's it. I'm taking a break. So I felt like it was December, January, February. Then I was kind of just like, I'm living my life. I'll have my glass of wine. I'll just, I was giving myself a break.
Okay.
And then
And
by
how many competitions had you done before that? Was that all 40?
I did 40 in total in
Before
6 years.
That is a lot of competitions, isn't it?
Yeah. I think so. It didn't feel like a lot though, because they were back to back. So it's like, but yeah, I did.
And you were winning
used to
some,
even
or
travel.
you were winning some?
Yeah, I did a lot. I didn't count my trophies, but SAF, I have a few trophies.
Nice. And
It was fun. I think it was just a lifestyle. It was just
were they all local, Canadian, or were you doing any other?
no.
competition?
We well, again, I think Vanda was like my wingman. Is that how you call that, a wingman?
Sure.
Like she's like, "Yep, let's go to California." I'm like, "Okay, we'll go to California." I don't think I won anything at California, but we went. Don't remember.
You sure you traveled?
I went to Pittsburgh. I went to Ohio. I met Arnold.
Oh, nice.
Took some selfies.
And were you feeling
Not that he
so in
remembers
all
me.
this? Were you feeling healthy?
Yeah.
Like you felt good. You weren't feeling
Yeah.
like
I
you were,
did.
except for the fact you were missing sugar, sweets.
Yes, but I would have my sugar after my competition, which was like, or my carbs. Like eat that big hamburger. Or there's something about nachos and cheese that I wanted after competition.
Sure,
which
nachos
is like,
and cheese.
Yeah. So, yeah, I felt good. I had my energy.
And was it during this time when you're competing and preparing, and is this when you discovered cancer? No.
No.
Okay.
So I think I finished, I started doing photo shoots after that. So I was more directing myself into wanting to be just fitness model, do photo shoots. I got into a few magazines.
Well, I have one right here.
Yeah. So
Ottawa Life magazine.
Yes.
Ottawa Life magazine. And you were featured in here. This is around the cancer, I think, the discussion of cancer.
Right.
But I think there's some pictures in here that might have been from
probably, yes.
a photo shoot or something, yeah?
There is. But I did get into the inside fitness a few times, I think four times. And so after I was done, I didn't say I was done with competition. I just felt like I liked photo shoots and getting into magazines. And I was just slowly like just enjoying, I don't know if it's just about like.
You're modeling effectively.
Yeah,
right?
I was modeling. It was just.
Is that, does that pay? Is that is that a career type thing?
I
or you
won
have to...
some money with competitions, but I didn't get any money for being in a magazine. But it brought me some good publicity for my hair and makeup.
Okay, so you do hair and makeup.
Yes, I'm a hairstylist.
Do you have a name of your...
Yes, I have a home-based salon called Mela Styles.
Mela Styles, okay. Based in your home.
So it's Mela for Melanie Albert and Styles for hair styles.
So Mela Styles, you were basically, the modeling was bringing recognition to the fact that...
I think so.
You had this salon.
Yeah, a lot of people was reaching out to me and just saying like, whoa, I saw you in this magazine. Can you do my hair and makeup? I'm like,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and I did a lot of hair and makeup for photo shoots. And a lot of the photographers that was knew me then would contact me and say, I have, this gig of hair and photo shoots that I need hair and makeup for.
Oh, nice.
So it kind of brought me, I can't say that magazine didn't pay me. It brought.
There wasn't an exchange of money, but it brought you. Brought
publicity,
business.
brought business.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're modeling, you're doing the hair and makeup stuff. Mm-hmm. And at what point? How do you discover that you have cancer?
Okay, so my birthday fell on. Well, my birthday is on March 18. Okay, and I turned 40.
40, and a healthy 40. From your perspective, a healthy 40.
Absolutely.
Not like you wouldn't say, "Oh, Melanie's not well," or she doesn't take care of herself, or any of that stuff.
Exactly.
It's a healthy 40.
Yes, I felt great. I was still training.
I think that's important because I think, I think part of the message is that you can be as healthy or look as healthy or feel as healthy.
Yeah.
But things can happen, right?
I know.
So you're a healthy 40. Your birthday comes up, and
yeah. So my birthday ended up on March 18. Well, I mean that's
it
the
did end
date
up like
it lands.
40 years before that. Yeah.
It lands on March 18, 2020, which I turned. That's my 40th.
Right.
And that's when Canada went on a lockdown.
Oh, the COVID lockdown.
Right.
Okay.
So I was in a shock that I couldn't celebrate. Like, I got a little birthday party before my birthday, but then it went lockdown, and that's it. Like, I couldn't leave the country for my birthday. And I was already very disappointed. I was like, no way, I can't go to Mexico. So now there's my answer to your question, is that right after 2 weeks after my birthday, when I turned 40, that's when I got a phone call from my doctor and said, we got your, Oof, I got back into my memories. We just got your results from your biopsy, and you have, got to remember this, invasive.
So why did they do a biopsy in the first place?
Okay, so.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but.
No, I can go back to that.
Why would they do a biopsy? Because that's not a standard procedure.
All right, so this is how it started, is 2 years before I turned 40, I found a lump.
Okay.
On
under
my
your arm.
right side of My breast.
Under your breast, okay.
I wouldn't say under me, my arm. It was more on the right side of my breast. I knew it was there.
You found it or they found it?
I found it.
Okay. And could you do regular tests? Because I know that women are supposed to do like tests for lumps and stuff like that.
I was never told to do that. And I don't feel like doctors don't do physicals anymore. They don't just go like, you need to come in and we need to, no, I was just sitting watching TV one day and I found this lump.
Okay. By coincidence, like you just happen to be touching there and there's a lump. Okay.
Yeah. And it was like the size of a hard chickpea, like a chickpea that's not cooked. Like
right. So very small. We're not huge.
Small blueberry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I was worried.
Right out of the gate, you thought, oh, could be problematic, or
no? I don't know what I was thinking back then. I felt
did you jump into action from that point, or did you think, oh, it's just a bump, it'll go away?
Well, I remember first thing I told my partner, Shane. I told him, I said, so weird. I have a lump.
Okay.
I like a little bump. He's like, oh, he freaked out. He's like, go get it checked right now. And I was like, okay, I'll call my doctor, let her know.
So do you think you would have checked if he hadn't sort of jumped at it? Or do you think you would have just let it go and thought,
no? I'm usually pretty good with when there's something wrong with my body. I know there's something, I wouldn't say, like I'm good with that.
This is important because this is for information for women out there, because you could feel a lump and just go, whatever, and then get on with life and, but between you and Shane, you sort of jumped into action at that point. Or you
kind of.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to tell your story.
So that's when I contacted my doctor. Mm-hmm. And, it takes a while to get appointments with doctors.
Especially in COVID times.
It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't? This is 2 years before COVID.
2 years before I turned 40.
Okay.
2 years before COVID. Right. So I ended up getting my appointments. She didn't even touch the lump. She just said, you're young. Don't worry about it. I'll send you for a mammogram when you're 40, because that's when women get their mammograms. And she said, it's just a cyst. I wouldn't be worried about it.
She didn't touch it, though?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
So I went back home and I told, whatever my doctor thinks it's a cyst, and, maybe, I don't know. I didn't know after. I was just like, let it be.
Did you stop worrying then at that point?
Yeah.
You believed her and that it was just a cyst and it's not a big deal? Or was it still in your mind that?
No, I kind of just let it be. I don't know. I just didn't. It was just a strange thing. So anyways, now after a year and a half, I'm still sitting there and I'm like, man, this bump is still there. I feel like it's getting harder.
Did it change in size?
It wasn't changing in size. Or maybe it's just because I knew it was there and I just was always pressing on it. And then I was like, so I started saying, I'm like, well, you know what? If there's a cyst in me, I want it removed.
Okay.
Whatever. So I ended up making another appointment. My doctor was sick that day, and I ended up going to see another doctor that was available that day. And that's when he's like, I think he touched the lump, and he said, you need to go for your mammogram and just go tomorrow. Just go tomorrow.
Right.
Now I don't know.
This is about a year later, is it?
I feel like it. Maybe a year and a half later.
Okay, year and a half later.
Something like that, yeah. So I was like, okay. So I listened to him. I went for my mammogram, not thinking nothing, not thinking it could be nothing. Like, it was just like... So anyways, I went for my mammogram, and then that's when I got my phone call.
How long after your mammogram did you get the call?
Well, I got the call in 2000. No, they asked me to go for a biopsy.
So they did the mammogram, and then they said you need to go for
your biopsy.
How shortly after the mammogram did they say that?
Well, that's very hard to know.
I mean, roughly, like months, year?
Maybe no, they were pretty quick. I think it was like, like 3 weeks for a month or, I don't know, 3 weeks.
And a biopsy, they do a small incision, take out a piece of the...
The biopsy was, I felt like it was tense for me, but sometimes it could be a piece of cake. But anyway, no, they just freeze you. They have this long, long, long needle that takes a little sample of the tumor. Well, back then, I thought it was a cyst. And then they test.
Did it scare you when they said you needed to go for a biopsy?
No, because I was still not aware about, I didn't know anything about cancer, to be honest. And I would never believe that I would have that. So I wasn't worried.
So you were still believing it was just a cyst and they were just testing it?
Yep.
Okay. And then sometime after that, you get a call.
Well, maybe 2 weeks after the whole COVID started, my birthday. So I would say it was in April 2020. 2020. Sorry. Okay. So yeah, that's when the doctor called me and told me that they found that I have an invasive ductal carcinoma.
Okay, I know what carcinoma means. The other parts I don't know. Invasive.
Right, that's how I felt when she said that.
Right. And so what happens from there? I'm assuming a discussion.
Well, I asked, I'm like, what is that? She's like, we found cancer.
Oh.
And I'm like, well, what kind of cancer is that? And I'm like, I got to Google this. What is it? And I was trying to write it down. She's like, well, she was like, well, you don't need to know the details right now. I don't know. I just felt like she was not helping me. So I was just like, okay. She's like, all you need to know is that you have cancer, breast cancer, and you're going to need to do some treatment. So I'm sending you to the oncologist, and they're going to be calling you. And I'm like, no, this is a mistake. That's what I said. Right. I remember word to word, this is a mistake.
Right.
And she's like, no, she made it clear. She's like, no, this is not a mistake. And I'm like, well, I can't believe it. And then it just went, this is the conversation I was having with the doctor. Mm-hmm. So, no,
So you were in a bit of denial. It was hard for you to imagine.
Absolutely. I'm like, there's no way. I feel strong, and no, that would be almost impossible to even have that thought,
Right. And so she was going to refer you to an oncologist.
Right. Oh, and that was quick. I probably got a phone call the next day.
Oh, yeah. So when they believe you have cancer, I believe
it's quick.
They respond very quickly.
Oh, absolutely.
This particular type of cancer, is it typically aggressive, or is it?
Yes, the one, it's an aggressive one, yeah.
It's an aggressive cancer. So they wanted to get on this right away.
Yes.
Okay.
And COVID lockdown.
COVID lockdown, right?
Ugh.
Because the call came during COVID lockdown.
Yep.
Right.
So that made things a little bit difficult for me at the very beginning. So you don't get to see doctors face to face.
How are they diagnosing? I mean, they can diagnose the biopsy, but how are they?
I was lucky that I got my biopsy before the COVID lockdown, because I don't know how they would have did a biopsy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure they have to. I mean, when it comes to cancer and things like that, they can't. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah.
So you're now you go to see an oncologist, and what happens when you or talk to a?
Yeah.
You don't go to see them actually, right?
It started off with, I didn't talk to the oncologist at the beginning. I had to talk to the surgeon.
And an oncologist is basically a cancer doctor.
Well, I guess they have. I had 5 oncologists.
So they have typically, my understanding is they have a surgical oncologist, and they have a medical oncologist, right?
And the radiation oncologist.
Oh, and the radiation oncologist, yeah.
And then there's a social worker.
But then between the surgical and the medical one, I've dealt with a bit of cancer, not myself personally, but they sort of collaborate and decide whether it's surgery or treatment and that type of thing, right?
Right, yeah. So I started talking to the surgeon. She was a lady.
Okay.
Very nice lady. So I couldn't meet her face to face because of the COVID lockdown. And I got to mention that my home-based studio got closed from this lockdown as well.
Oh, you mean your hair? Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I was told by the government, whatever, that hairdressers cannot work. So I had to close my hair salon.
Right.
Everything was happening at the same time.
Right.
So I was really telling myself, happy birthday, 40, and then everything, I felt like the world was just crashing on me.
Can you speak more about that? Because again, I think it's important that the message gets out there. When you get this information that you have cancer, now you've talked to an oncologist.
Yeah.
You know what's going on? Like it's emotionally, that's got to be.
Yeah.
You had support around you.
Yes, the support didn't come right away because I did not know how to announce it.
Right.
I was still like, I think the only person that knew was my partner.
Right.
Which he was like taking days off, like you wouldn't believe. Ooh, I'm getting emotional.
That's okay.
Forgot about this time.
It's okay.
Okay. Whoa, that hit me. All right. So, yeah, I was really not believing it. Like,
Of course.
where are we now?
Well, so you're dealing with this emotionally. You're trying to absorb this information, which is hard for you to even wrap your head around, right?
Yeah, sorry.
And you're not sure how to tell your family. Your partner at the time, and still your partner now, is very supportive. He knows.
Yeah.
And again, this message is really important for women out there, is that for everybody really is.
Yeah.
So what do you do with that? Because now your
Yeah.
world's crashing down around you.
Yeah.
You have a man in your life, a good man, who's supporting you, taking days off, doing what he needs to do. But
Yeah.
there's the rest of your family and everything else, and your whole social network and everything that doesn't know. So
Yeah.
what do you do with that?
Yeah. But I was dealing with that and the COVID lockdown. So it
And
was
the COVID
very
lockdown.
like I never thought that I had to close down a business, and that's my bread and butter every day, right? So you're like, whoa, okay. So I just got told I have cancer. Now I can't make any money. Well, I mean, thank God I had savings. Like I can't say I was like I could survive, but it's just everything was building up. Like, whoa, what just happened? So yeah, thank God I had God in my life.
Yes.
That was a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Like,
I'm guessing you spend a lot of time talking to God.
I think it's the first time I actually went on my knees and prayed so much.
Yeah. Do we have Kleenex?
Jeez.
It's
Why
okay,
am I
Melanie.
so sensitive?
No, it's good. It's good. I think it's important you tell your story in a very
I
honest
forgot
way.
about this, and I
Yeah.
kind of blocked it off too, so
Yeah. It's okay.
I'll be good. That was just the hardest moment, so I kind
Sure.
of relived it for a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so now, but you know what? One thing I gotta say, I took it as a blessing that I had to close my home studio, because I really had needed this time to focus on that situation.
course,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
to me, it was just like, so clients were not trying to book their hair and makeup.
Right.
So they knew there was a lockdown.
How
So
long did
I-
it take you to share with your family what was going on? Because
Yeah.
I think one of the concerns is, how are they going to react? Do you have to manage their feelings, let alone your own
I
feelings,
know.
right?
Exactly.
I mean, when you get diagnosed with something, you think, okay, I'm having enough trouble dealing with it myself.
Yeah,
Do I have to
exactly.
deal with my family? Like, hopefully some of them step up and are there for you, but some of them might
Yeah.
fall apart as well, right?
Yeah. I think I was able to tell my mom right away.
And how did she handle it?
She didn't believe it at first,
Right.
but it was like, is this something that you're like, yeah, there's no way. But she was there. I think Vanda too is the second one I told.
Would you, sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a second. Would you say that when you're dealing with something of such magnitude, it's important to select certain people in your life who you will seek out support from, as not just everybody, because you're not going to get the support
Yeah.
from everybody, and you're not
No.
going to necessarily even get, like I said, you might have to manage their feelings, let alone have, did you find it important to select people in your life?
Yes. And actually, what I did is I started reaching out to women that went through breast cancer.
Right.
So these were I don't know why. It was just like I was just reaching out to these
How did you know to find them?
There was this one woman that got diagnosed at the exact same time as me. And she was just going through, like, talking to oncologists, and somebody told me about her, which I think was from the Life Center.
Okay. Life Center is your church.
Yeah.
Okay.
So someone told me reach out to this lady, and she's going through the same thing. She got diagnosed at the same time. So I think I was calling her like every day. And she was giving me a lot of information. She was so open and educated. She was such educated, and she was even sending me like good music from God, like
nice.
Just for me. She's like, go to bed with that music. It's going to lift you up. She's like, just give your life to God. Just talk to Him. She was really, really like, So I was able to just call her in the morning, and we would pray together. So
did you have because of your relationship with God, did you have a peace about, aside from the fact that this is a big deal, aside from the fact that there's a lot of emotions around it, and that's just being human, did you feel a sense of peace that God had you?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Even though God's been in my life for a long time. Like, I would pray God before I walk on stage and just tell Him, okay, all right, I'm nervous for this. You got to give me this like strength and just make me like, look, it's like make me glow, But yeah, I felt like He was there. It's just so strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I felt like, if God wasn't there, I don't know. I don't even know if a human being can lift me up like that,
I don't think a human being could, no.
No.
So you're at some point, your family knows, your friends know. What was the treatments you had to get?
Okay, so I was talking to the surgeon at the beginning, and we had to do FaceTime. I couldn't meet her face to face because of the COVID, right?
Sorry, they had decided to do surgery, or this is before?
Yes, we had to remove that lump.
Okay.
The tumor.
Right.
Yeah. So we started with that, and then she told me, she said, we're on a lockdown, and there's a little bit of it's difficult because the surgery is closed.
Well, that's insane. They're telling you that you need surgery, but you can't get it because it's closed?
Yeah.
That's insane. I'm not laughing at the
There's
situation. I'm laughing at how insane that is.
In surgeries, she said.
That's
we are not going to do surgery. So I'm like, well, what do you mean? I want this tumor out of me. She's like, no, we're not opening surgeries. We're all on lockdown. So I'm like, well, what are you going to do? She's like, well, you're going to have to start with chemo. And I'm like, what? I'm not a guinea pig.
Right.
I am not going to throw this poison inside of me before you take out the tumor. I'm like, don't you want to take out the tumor and test it out, see what's going on? Or no, that's the way things are now.
Honestly, Mel, it's unbelievable. I believe it because we've lived through COVID, but it's unbelievable that they could take such an approach to humanity.
And I said no.
Good
I put my foot down.
Yeah.
And I said, I want this surgery done.
Good for
I
you.
want this tumor out. And I am not going to do this chemo before. And there's like, I was probably the worst patient. And I was FaceTime on top of that,
But you were standing up for yourself.
I was.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because again, for any listeners, a lot of people won't stand up for themselves, and they'll just take the word of the doctor, and they'll just sort of follow whatever the doctor says. But
I really
Mel,
put
stood
my
up for
foot
yourself.
down, and it was, I think I'm a little bit, I felt like I was a hard-headed patient, but I'm glad I did that.
I don't know, that comes across negative. I don't think you were hard-headed. It sounds like you were taking charge of your life.
Exactly. Yeah, I was.
That's not hard-headed. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the surgeon said, let me see what we can do. I will call you back. And I said, well, I can't wait for the surgery. Like, this needs to be out. So she's like, okay, well, there's something that needs to be done, and you need to make a decision before the surgery, regardless, or before chemo, or before radiation, or before anything. She's like, do you want your eggs to be freezed? So I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not thinking about kids right now. I'm doing photo shoots. It's all about the, I look great right now. I'm like, I was thinking like, so I'm like, but I didn't say no that I'd never want kids, but I don't want to not have the chance in the future because of treatment. So they're
assuming
like,
treatment affects your fertility.
She's like, we're going to go ahead and you're going to get your eggs free. So we're going to order this. You're going to get this. I'm like, so I couldn't believe how they rushed that so fast. And I'm like, okay, so what do I have to do? She's like, well, you're going to have like 3 injections in your stomach full of hormones. And it went like, it was a lot of, I think I did 2 weeks of just 3 injections in my stomach.
Okay, and this is to get the eggs and freeze
to freeze my eggs.
And I'm assuming because treatment will kill off your fertility. Could kill off your fertility.
A woman can be unfertilized.
Right.
For life. Like it could kill your eggs.
Okay.
Right.
So you get that done.
I got it done, which was not good for me.
Why is that?
Oh, my hormones were all imbalanced. It was hormone
it affects
pumping.
your...
yeah.
Okay.
My hormones were all wacky, and
okay.
but it's okay. I did it, which I thought it was funny. I'm like, oh, I froze like 7 little babies, and that's awesome.
Nice.
Anyways, those eggs I don't even know where they are now because it's not going to happen.
Freezer somewhere,
but yeah,
sure.
I guess. So that was the first step I did, and I did not like just these injections and all that stuff. Was terrible. So that just started on the wrong foot from the start, right?
Okay.
So then anyways, I kept calling and saying, are you guys going to take me in? Are you guys going to take me in for the surgery? And I had to make my own phone calls. I was getting so frustrated.
How often would you call?
Oh, God, I think I was every day at least.
Every day. Good for you.
I would call the help hotline hospital, and I'd be like, did you guys make a decision? Are you going to take me in? And then, of course, I started talking to the medical oncologist, and then he was like, well, I think we're going to have to do the chemo before. And I was like, no, I am doing the surgery.
Nice.
So anyways, yes.
How long did it take you with all these calls to finally get...
I got my surgery in May.
So about a month.
Yeah, a month and a half. Yeah, about that. Yeah, once I'd done the old egg freezing and all that stuff, they booked the surgery. They ended up doing it.
Good for you, Mel. I think it's important because anybody who watches this to know that you got to fight for yourself. Don't let it happen to you. Make it happen.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So I did my surgery. Surgery was a piece of cake, to be honest. No, they took it out, and the thing is,
it's a small surgery. I'm assuming it's not a
right. And I ended up getting the news after that the cancer cells, they actually went in one of my lymph nodes.
Okay.
So they found out of 4 that it went in my lymph nodes. So that was not good because they said it's going to spread and you have no choice to do the chemo.
Okay. At this point, because you've now acknowledged it's cancer, you've kind of come to terms with it, you're shared it with everybody. Are you just in that sort of in a pace now, or does this news now send you down another rabbit hole of worry? Like, is it?
No, I think that's when I started making a group of just support.
Oh, good.
People were just
other
women, I would
cancer,
say, women. I think there was a mix. Just I made a group of just. I didn't want to just have to text everybody. Yes, I'm good, and I'm doing fine. Back then, I was just messaging whatever. But I got really closed in, which I was like didn't for a while and then again we were in the lockdown, so nobody was coming to visit me at home, right?
Right.
So I didn't feel like I had my group of girlfriends coming to the house or anything because we were not seeing each other. We were told stay away from each other. So I kind of felt alone. In a good way, maybe I had more time to focus on myself. But that group that I created on the Facebook, they were very supportive. Everybody was really supportive.
Were these all people that had cancer, or
No,
Oh, these are just group of friends.
My friends and families.
Friends and family. Okay. Mm-hmm. And would you say that really helped you through the journey?
Yeah, that did. Because
So-
you just know people care, and it
Right.
just makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, it's not good being alone. I mean, and especially when you're struggling. So you start doing the chemo, and how does that affect you physically?
Well, this is another story. So my doctor wanted me to do this very strong chemo that was going to make me lose my hair.
Okay.
And I'm a hairdresser, and
you have
my
beautiful
hair
hair,
is
yeah.
very important to me.
Sure.
So I did not want to lose my hair. And I was thinking about no, my lifestyle is, about being model and looking pretty and photo shoots and everything is it was just killing me inside. I'm like, I can't not lose my hair. I cannot do that. I cannot. It was just so my friends, of course, were trying to tell me that it's don't worry about it. And, they were trying to comfort me and saying that the wig is going to be fine. You're going to look good. And so anyways, I did go shopping for wigs, and no wigs were fitting me. My head is too small.
Really?
Yeah, it's just it was the wig was going down on my forehead. It was
Okay.
it looked absolutely silly on me.
Sure.
And I was like, I can't not do that. This is crazy. So I did go see some custom-made wig place.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady was trying to do a custom-made for me, but she was like, it's going to cost you $4,000 for real hair and a custom-made wig.
Right.
And I'm like, $4,000? No way. This is crazy. I'm not going to do that.
None of this is covered by OHIP,
No.
the health plan.
No.
No.
And
Obviously, the treatments are, but not a
absolutely.
wig. Yeah.
There was one thing that really upsetted me. So I told my oncologist, I heard about this cold cap, and it's
Yes.
going to keep my hair. I said, I'm going to go for it. I want the cold cap. They're like, no, the Ottawa hospital do not offer the cold cap. You will have to rent it.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, where did they have the cold cap? They're like, well, they have it in Gatineau and they have it in the States. So I'm like, okay, I'll go do my treatments in Gatineau. They're like, well, OHIP doesn't pay for nothing.
Right.
So you'll have to pay your own treatments in Gatineau. So I'm like, so this is when I had a meltdown. And I was like, okay, how can I rent a cold cap? So I was back down to doing the research. I don't know. I couldn't find anything. It was like $10,000 to rent one. And then I was talking to some nurses that, I don't know, they were just not offering it. So again, I had to put my foot down and I said, I am not going to do a chemo that's going to make my hair fall out. And that's when the first oncologist I was with, we were not seeing, I felt like I was just butting heads with him. He was just, anyways, I ended up getting a new oncologist.
Okay, so another important piece of information. I've had my own medical experiences, and I think just accepting a doctor's word is not good,
Yeah.
And just accepting the doctor. I switched doctors for a particular situation I had.
Yeah.
And it's important. It's important to find a doctor you can work with, not the doctor you don't feel you're working with.
You have to trust that doctor.
Yes. You're putting your life in their hands.
I know.
Yeah. So it's important for people to know that you can make choices. You're not stuck,
Yeah.
So you found this other oncologist.
I decided to go with another oncologist. I was recommended by a lady I spoke to. So he was still telling me the same thing, though. And I refused to do the chemo that was going to make me lose my hair. I said, I can't do it. I said, you need to come up with something else. And they're like, we don't have anything else. And I said, you have to come up with something. So they did.
Amazing.
They came up with something else.
What did they come up with?
I don't know what it was.
It's just a different kind of treatment.
Different type of treatment with immune therapy that I had to take at the same time, because the immune therapy targets the HER2 positive breast cancer, which that's what I had.
Right. So you had to fight hard
Yes.
to get them to even consider a treatment that they obviously had that they didn't want to do for some reason.
Because he said that treatment is not as effective. I don't know. He said as effective, or maybe there was not enough studies with that. I don't know. Then again, I was just going with it. So I did a less effective chemo that I kept my hair.
Okay.
With immune therapy. So I did 8 rounds of chemo, and I was doing it every 2 weeks.
And you kept your hair.
My hair did not fall.
Yay.
My hair did not fall. My nails did not fall. Like your eyebrows, your eyelashes, everything apparently just falls because the chemo kills those remaining cells, right?
Of course,
The new cells that your body's creating. So that's how it kills your cells. It's so sad to hear that. It's disgusting.
Chemo is a very harsh treatment. I mean, depending on which chemo you get, but it can be very hard on the body. I mean, it kills the bad stuff, but it kills the good stuff too.
Yep.
So, so you fight for this new treatment, this different treatment, and it works.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently it did. I mean,
So you do the 8 rounds of chemo.
I did the 8 rounds of chemo, and
then they test you afterwards.
yeah, I guess. No, I had to do radiation after.
Oh, you had to do radiation. Okay.
So I did 3 weeks of radiation. So I did it every single day.
That's painful, isn't it?
Radiation wasn't that bad. That was
No?
a piece of cake. I just had to go in the machine, and it felt like a sunburn on my breast.
Right.
The chemo was a lot harder.
Did you get sick from the chemo?
I didn't get sick, but I got complete fatigue.
Fatigue, okay.
Very fatigue.
Right.
I was weak. And the next day after my rounds of chemo, I felt like I was in a bubble. Like I felt like just...
Like brain fog type
Yeah,
thing?
I couldn't think.
All right.
So
All right,
you know
so
that,
now you do your 8 rounds of chemo. You do 3 rounds of radiation, you said?
I did 3 weeks.
3 weeks of radiation.
Yeah.
How often did they do the radiation? It's not every day. Is it every day?
Every single day I did it for an amount of 3 weeks.
Wow. That's a lot of radiation. And then what happens after that?
What happens after that? I recover.
They did some testing. I'm assuming they said cancer is in remission. Sorry, is this a treatable cancer, or does it just go into remission? In other words, can you cure it, or is it in remission?
I think it's curable. I know I heard some stories that some women got reoccurrence.
Right.
I mean, the MRI machine, which I got this year, I got tested this year in the MRI machine, didn't find any.
Beautiful. So you got healed.
Yes, God healed me.
God healed you.
God healed
And
me.
God gave you, I believe God gave you the strength to fight for yourself, to fight for the things you knew, you wanted, you needed.
Yeah.
And that's, I think that's an amazing thing because, again, most people would just take what they get. And you didn't take what you got. You took it further. You pushed for what you believed you deserved. Mm-hmm. How long has it been since the last treatment?
Jeez, I was trying to figure out that. I feel like I'm on my 3 year. I feel like I'm on my 3 years now.
So 3 years. And do they test you every year?
Yeah, it hasn't been that long, but that's something I would have to go back in my books because I kind of blocked off a lot of the times and stuff. When I finish all these treatments, trust me, it was like running away from all this, and I'm like, I'm putting this behind me. That's it, So could be 2 years, could be 3 years. I'm not sure.
And how often do they test you after?
Every year, I'm going to get a MRI.
MRI.
I get a mammogram every year, and maybe the MRI is every 2 years. So.
And I'm assuming you test yourself.
Yes, I do.
Often.
I do.
I'm just thinking. I mean, I don't know, but I would think that.
I recommend every woman to make sure if you have a lump to get yourself checked. Don't wait.
So let's talk about that because in the end, the purpose of this podcast is for you to share your story, but to help people, right? To reach people. Yeah. What is it that you would tell women out there? Like testing yourself is one thing.
Well, if you think there's something not normal or there's like a sensation on your breast that just don't wait. Even if the doctors say that you get mammograms at 40, just go for your mammogram before that. And especially if you have cancer in your family, it's actually important
Okay.
because you could have a gene cancer. I had no cancer in my family, zero,
Right.
nothing. And that was one of the reasons I didn't get a mammogram before 40.
Right.
Because they said you're in a good health, you're not a smoker, you're under 40, you're young, and there's no issues. But it's not that.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think that's important as well. Genetics play a huge role in sort of where our health is going to go in our lives. We can direct it 30% one way or the other.
Yeah.
But if you have cancer in your family, you have to work hard to avoid getting cancer.
Yeah.
Or if someone doesn't have cancer in the family, they don't have to work so hard. They may have something else. There are people who have, genes that prevent them from getting stuff, like people who smoke 5 packs of cigarettes a day and never get lung cancer,
Yeah.
And that's just because their genes prevent that. But so you don't have it, but what do you do? Like, what would you tell women out there who don't have cancer in the family? They're testing themselves and they have a lump. So let's not take it for granted, right?
No.
Because it can happen,
You
right?
have to take action. You have to be your own doctor at the end of the day. Like, doctors are not going to run after you and be like, you need to get your physical. We need to check your breasts, or we have to make sure this. No. This isn't, you're your own doctor.
And if you feel healthy, because I'm guessing up until the point when you were diagnosed, you didn't feel anything in terms of health-wise.
It was a silent disease.
So it's silent.
Very
And that's
silent.
scary on its own, because you could be
Yes.
the most fit person,
Absolutely.
eating extremely well, doing all the right things. And here's something happening behind the scenes that you don't
Yeah.
even know. So
No.
it's by the grace of God that you felt that lump, really. You could have gone on day after day, month after month, and not realizing, and it starts spreading in
know.
your body, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I knew that lump was there. I can't go back in time. But
Would
I
you have done
should've-
anything differently?
I would have took action the day I found that lump. I would
Okay.
have went for a mammogram, because maybe I would have not had to do this chemo.
Right.
I
Because it
feel
may not
like-
have spread to your lymph node.
Right.
Right. Okay, so if you're listening or you're watching, take action. If you have a lump, do something about it.
Yes.
And fight for what you believe is right. And if you find a doctor you don't like, find a doctor you do like.
Yeah.
And, fight for your life, because nobody's going to fight as hard for your life as you and God
Yeah.
combined, right?
Absolutely.
Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Any other thoughts you want to share, Melanie? This has been amazing. It's been an amazing journey just to walk this with you for
Yeah.
the last hour. Any other thoughts you want to share with women that...
I mean, everybody has their own experience in life, right? It's like life is never perfect, or it can seem like it's perfect, and then all of a sudden it's just gonna hit you like a living hell, you know what I mean? But I just think that, no matter what, if you have a heavy weight to carry in your life, I think there's always a good and a bad.
Yeah. What would you say you got out of this good? Like what? I hate to use the term silver lining, because that's.
Yeah.
But I mean, what did God teach you in this whole experience?
I think it's just appreciate the little things. Just appreciate life a little bit better. Appreciate the people around you. Just don't dwell on the little things anymore. It's you know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
That's great. And one thing I think I'll add is that this idea of a support group, don't go through this alone, even if it's you, even if you have God in your life, don't go through it alone. Have people around you who will support you in this, right?
And that was the one thing I remember when I was COVID, I think it was the time that I needed the most hugs from people. And I nobody was allowed to hug back then, right? So I was just this is so hard.
Yes.
Except Vanda gave me hugs. Vanda and my mom was still giving me hugs, but
Wonderful.
I know everybody that knew I was going through is, but that whole COVID made it a little bit harder.
Yes.
To go through that. And also, I got to mention that the hospitals did not want me to bring anybody with me for my treatments. And I put my foot down on that one too. I had to. I said, I am not doing that by myself.
I like your character, Melanie. I like that you fight for yourself.
So they put my partner on the list, and I said he better be on every single treatment list because I am not walking in that hospital doing these treatments by myself. So, yeah.
So find someone. If you don't have, I'm talking to people out there now. If you don't have the courage, like the strength to fight for yourself, find someone who's going to fight for you, because otherwise you'll get trampled on. I mean, really, the system is designed to speak to the loudest voice, right? As opposed to everybody's taken care of. It's not true. I mean,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I really appreciate it. I mean, you really shared some really
Thank you.
wonderful
I was
things, and I
surprised.
hope.
I'm usually very nervous, but
Well-
I can't. This brought me back into memories.
I hope that's okay too. I hope that bringing
Yeah.
you back into memories wasn't traumatic, but it's
Yeah.
maybe more
it's
healing
good.
for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Melanie, and I think this is a great episode, and thanks for your time. Really.
All right. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
Okay.